You're listening to Transformation at Work, your one-stop guide to Salesforce success. And this is Project Rewind, real stories of business transformation and Salesforce success in our customers' own words. Our Gerent practice leaders and real Salesforce users are sitting down for an in-depth look at the challenges they faced and how digital tools help them improve processes and deliver outstanding results. Today we're talking about manufacturing, and we're talking specifically about the sales process, something that is absolutely critical to the success of any organization long term. I mean, it's almost impossible to overstate how critical it is for teams to be able to not just bring in new customers, but also deepen relationships and continue selling to existing ones. But also a process that brings with it a particular set of challenges and, let's call it what it is, frustrations. In fact, if you've worked in manufacturing for any length of time and your organization manually tracks those sales opportunities, there's probably one particularly frustrating experience that you're very, very well acquainted with. Roger Yeager is a supply chain manager with PTR Group, manufacturer of metal and plastic components that create sub-assemblies for OEMs and suppliers across a range of industries. Here's how he describes PTR Group's previous manual process for managing sales opportunities. Tell me if this sounds familiar.
You get an email, you write it down, you get a blue sheet, you kept track of it, put it on a log, you drag it out, and then sometimes that blue sheet may get lost here, lost there. Then it would go back and forth to sales. It's a lot more into it than what it should have been.
That frustrating sales process is likely at least a little familiar to any manufacturing organization that still relies on manual tracking of data. After all, blue sheets, binders, Excel spreadsheets, that's how it all gets done, right? And as Phil Moroco, PTR Group's chief commercial officer, breaks down here, that process brings with it some unfortunate hurdles when it comes to workflow and efficiency.
We had information all over the place. Orders or opportunities would come in, lots of emails back and forth. Information be passed amongst the sales and costing teams, engineering, and it was hard to keep control over everything that was going on. When I was talking to Gerent and Salesforce, my whole analogy was like I felt like we had all these balloons we were trying to hold on to, and at any one point in time, a balloon was going to start floating up in the air. And those balloons are lost opportunities.
And as Roger points out, sometimes those hurdles aren't just an inconvenience, they can ultimately compromise an opportunity altogether.
It was very difficult sometimes to handle all the paperwork and then the constant emails back and forth. There was really no tie together of everything. The biggest problem that we had was some of the opportunities get lost. Piece of paper, disappears on somebody's desk or gets attached to something else, and then it's forgot about. If it wasn't for the log, a lot of times we would have probably lost other opportunities.
For PTR Group specifically, the biggest challenge that this manual sales process presented was when it came to cross-selling. Because even when sales went through, there was virtually no way to deepen those relationships over time because, as Phil puts it here, that work was so painstakingly siloed.
It's almost impossible to do cross-collaboration. Different files, are we on the right file? Are we on the right revision? Where's the information? Who's got the ball? It was very difficult, to develop opportunities and win work across the business units. I mean, other than having lots of meetings, you can do that. You can meet all the time, have lots of phone calls, lots of emails. I mean, that's kind of what we were doing. And then when you're spinning your wheels like that, where you could be spending time with customers, here you're spending time managing data.
Faced with these larger structural issues and looking for better ways to cross-sell to customers and hand off work between departments, PTR Group turned to Salesforce to address their needs. Well, almost. There was just this one small problem.
My role in that particular implementation with PTR was to lead the solution. When I say leading the solution, it was a slightly different engagement because they were starting out, with Salesforce. They knew they wanted Salesforce as a tool. They did not know, how best to use it.
That's Zohaib Noorani, Senior Solution Consultant at Gerent and the Principal Architect on the PTR Group Implementation Initiative. And that uncertainty from PTR Group around how to best use Salesforce without the right guidance up front, that can lead to considerable resistance throughout the process. For more on how that looked in the moment, here's Indubala Kachhawa, Project Manager at Gerent, who worked closely with Roger and Phil throughout their entire implementation process.
There was a point we realized that there's some hesitance from the client because it was a big digital transformation. They were kind of like probably old school with the Excel sheet, the paper pen, and this transformation. So as Newton's laws goes, there's always a resistance to a change.
How are we going to get this thing implemented? That was my biggest thing because, I'm not going to sign up for that and not have someone outside of our organization, help us with the implementation.
So the question becomes, how do you address that uncertainty? And as Phil breaks down here, one of the first things that Indubala, Zohaib, and the Gerent team did was work with PTR Group to identify those internal team members within PTR Group who could act as administrators and change champions to help ensure that the implementation was as successful as possible. Here's Phil's perspective on the process.
One of the recommendations Gerent had in the beginning was like the sales administrator. We talked about, okay, what do we need to have? That's where Roger came in because I'm like, I'm all over the place. I can champion the effort. I can get the project started, but I got to have someone that can drive the train internally. So Roger, I asked Roger to pick up the Salesforce administrator role. He's like, all right. He goes, I don't know much about that program, but I could probably do it. I'm willing to learn. Give me a shot. I said, look, we're going to have a Gerent on our team, and they'll guide you through the process.
With Roger appointed as Salesforce administrator, he began to work as a liaison between Gerent and the broader PTR Group team to build a better, more digitally connected sales process from the ground up.
When PTR was brought on through this thing, the best thing that we had was we were able to connect business together. The weekly meetings, I get a lot of information from the sales managers. And then I've also offered my services that whenever anybody needs anything that's in the group, they're more than welcome to get on, and we'll pop on a quick visual meeting, and I'll show them what they're doing wrong or where we need to repair things. And like Phil said, we're still not working with leads fully, but I'm pretty sure I've got some of these guys doing it correctly now. I welcome the audit, like Phil said, to see if we're doing everything the way it's designed to do. But it seems like that they're catching on now to that program.
And as Roger puts it here, it was in that partnership with Indubala and Gerent, working confidently and candidly with both sides bringing the best of their experiences and expertise, where real effective change was able to occur.
Gerent as a whole, they are great at knowledge and organizational skills when they implemented the program. They gave us a really good champion. Indu was awesome at how she kept the program together. Indu really helped us overcome a lot of the challenges, very, respectfully. She did it. It wasn't like, hurry up, you got to get this done. It's like, okay, how can we do this together? I really think she was an awesome person, to work with.
And on the other side of the coin, as Indubala puts it here, having a supportive and engaged administrator on the PTR Group side meant that the Gerent team was empowered to help the organization truly overhaul and improve their processes and create a really successful Salesforce implementation.
I can say that they have been super supportive. They had a busy schedule. I mean, they had a day job, and on the sidelines, they have to support us in getting this project to the finish line. And they were quite supportive, working out through their busy schedules. There were times when the set processes or approaches or their set processes didn't quite work to reach this finish line, but they were ready to pivot and they were not fixated on the ideas and approach. So they were very supportive, and we held their hands, and they gladly let us lean in So it was a great experience working with PTR Group.
And so, with the right people working on the implementation on both sides of the partnership, PTR and Gerent got to work, identifying pain points and leveraging Salesforce to streamline processes and connect those departments that had previously been completely siloed off from one another.
It was not only helping them in terms of the technological implementation, but also supporting them and hand-holding in terms of how they can best use Salesforce for their businesses and what will be the steps that they should be taking in order to implement the Salesforce in a way that can be most efficient and effective for them.
The main thing that Gerent did for us is they assisted in streamlining the process. You know, like when we went through a series of meetings where they asked everybody what their input or how we did things, they built themselves some nice little matrix, you know, and then from there, that's how they built our system, was around what we had basically told them. So they were really good in assisting with the streamlining of it, mainly.
Their main focus, as Zohaib puts it here, was improving that visibility so teams could more readily and easily cross-collaborate during the sales process, hand off work to one another, and really engage those potential cross-selling opportunities. Here's how he puts it.
So we started off with our first engagement, which was Sales Cloud. And we were harmonizing all their business processes. So they had different sales processes that they had. Our role was to harmonize those sales processes so that all their sales people can work together and work towards the same goal in order to close deals. Yeah.
That enhanced visibility didn't just improve collaboration, it also opened the door for valuable new opportunities both with new customers and with PTR Group's existing customer base. Here's how Phil puts it.
Transparency in the process. Anyone on our team can get in there and see what's going on. They can ask questions. We can, push tasks to other team members. We get the oversight that we need to have to drive our front end sales process.
One thing that Phil said was we're not getting new customers every day, but how we can grow our business is by selling more to the existing customer, showing our value to the existing customer that we have more to offer, and building that trust. And that trust can only be built when you're selling in the right way, when you have all your information structured in one place. What we were able to do in order to achieve Phil's vision was to create a system for PTR where all that information, all that business insight is available to them, on one platform. They're all collaborating with one another in one platform. Thus, if a single BU has a business and they realize that the second BU can contribute and we can cross-sell, they can easily collaborate. They can work across BUs, across their business units to grow their revenue. And that's the long-term goal for Phil and PTR.
And just how much potential are we talking about when we talk about what PTR Group was able to unlock through those cross-selling opportunities? I'll let Phil paint the picture.
The office is a lot quieter, which is surprisingly, it's surprising, but that's good. That's a good sign. That's not quieter because of, we're not doing more. We're actually doing more. Just you're doing the work that you intended to do. We're selling smarter. We're growing efficiently. I mean, those are all, part of the implementation of Sales Cloud. But I mean, again, and we don't get there unless we have the Gerent team, helping us.
But of course, money is only part of the equation, right? By being able to move customers between teams and address those more granular concerns, highlighting new opportunities as they come up, as Zohaib explains here, PTR Group is able to build those real, lasting relationships with customers that drive success and grow the business over time.
One thing that I would really like to applaud PTR for is that they understood that this is going to be an uphill battle and it's going to take time. It's going to take important conversations. It's going to take internal alignment, and they were ready to do that. And the outcome of all that internal conversations, surfacing business challenges, having those business value conversation, we were able to, build a product that gave them the visibility of their sales and opportunities and deals and pipelines. And now we think they're ready for the next stages, and there are conversations already going on for the next stages. So now they're very well set up to, capture their deals, their important businesses. And now they're ready to, open the system up to newer team members. And we are really excited about the next stages of this implementation with PTR. And I can say that for sure that we are going to have a long-term relationship with PTR because the level of trust and the confidence that both the stakeholders, both from the Gerent end and PTR end, has created.
Which brings us to the present. Sales Cloud is in place, PTR Group is looking ahead to future implementation, and as Phil puts it here, you can feel the impact that Salesforce has had on their organization just by stepping into the office.
Yeah, we got one right now that I think is going to turn out to be really good. Nice big account that's going to cross over to one of our other business units, and that happens, that's going to be great. That works, then that contract is going to be won. That could turn into a $15 million contract over the next 5 years. So that's an exact description of the kind of cross-selling that we're looking for, and we'll build on that. And that's it's key to the success of our organization.
And that is transformation at work. This has been Transformation at Work. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you again to Phil, Roger, Indubala, and Zohaib for your incredible contributions throughout the episode. Transformation at Work is, as always, produced by Gerent in collaboration with Salesforce. I am Jeff Stormer, your host and producer. If you enjoyed the show, consider leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify, or head to gerent.com to sign up for email updates when we release new episodes. Until next time, thank you again for listening, and we hope to see you again soon.